Hello, and welcome back to Let's Chat About Death. We've got a spooky one for you today, so sit back, relax, and don't look into any mirrors.
And away we go!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Chat About Death. And what a beautiful intro by Monster Annie. And we've also joined on the panel by Jess. Jess hasn't been on for a while. She's been away in Bali, as you do. So let's put our hands together for these lovely ladies. Oh, you like that? That was pretty good.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Far better than the crickets.
Yeah. I can do crickets. How about some trombone? Oh, isn't that sad?
I don't think Chris is very excited to see us
No,
today.
I am actually. I am very excited. It was just weird having to give up my microphone. I'm so used to having that. But anyway. So today, as Monster Annie said, we've got some more stories, I guess, to tell about the funeral industry, or my accounts, and obviously the girls' accounts. Some will be a little bit more gorier than others. Not a Naza goring, but no. Do you like that? That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
And I didn't even get any bloody applause for that. But anyway, but I'm here until Tuesday. So this is gory stories or just funeral related stories. You would have heard on some of our other episodes on the shower chairman that Jess and I were confronted with. If you haven't heard that, go and do yourself a favour and go and listen to it. It's a one in a lifetime opportunity that we had, and I don't think we'll ever see that again. So, do you girls have anything that you want to share before I take over the mic again?
I think that I've had a pretty tame, I've had some pretty tame experiences. I don't think that any of mine have been too particularly spooky or gory.
Okay, yeah.
So that's
well,
my contribution.
Yeah, well, that's a bit interesting.
I guess a lot of my stories go hand in hand with yours, Chris's,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I've been on the same transfers that you've
Well, there
been
you
on,
go.
same funerals.
And here
so
I am thinking I'll get you two girls on. We're going to be talking together. But no, it'll be just you listening to me talk.
the most memorable one for me would be the bathtub
Yeah,
funeral. I
Yeah.
think
yeah.
you'll understand why we call it the bathtub funeral. So take it away.
Oh, I've got
Take
to
it
say,
away,
I've got to
Chris.
do it. Okay, so we had a call from a family that lost their beautiful loved one to actually a gang-related assault that ended up obviously in a fatality. And this love, and I'll use female just as a thing. Now, what had happened is it ended up being a welfare check because they weren't able to get a hold of this lovely lady for quite some time. And when they went and they found her in the bathtub with water still running, you could just imagine, if you go and clog up a plug and your bath runs over or your sink runs over. We've all done it. Or something has happened in the laundry. It's a bit of a mess. You add that to hours or days, that becomes an even worse situation that no one, especially a family, this family has now been traumatized by the effect, obviously because it's their loved one, that has now traumatized them for the rest of their life. the gang and everything involved, and I'll just say alleged gang, because probably to this day I don't think it's still been 100% sorted. And so that, I mean, getting her from, say, the coroner's court in Melbourne, bringing her back into our care, and seeing the condition that she was in. Now, taking into account, and you're probably not aware, but anyone that's ever been in the ocean or a swimming pool or anything else like that, you know what it's like when you get out of a bath after a long period of time and you're really pruny, like you go that. You imagine you being in some water for 5 to 7 days. But we're not talking cold water, we're talking like hot water. So things start to disappear. Things start to, the body structure and everything just starts to really break down, and she was in unrecognizable condition, and I'm using those words because it's probably the best or the politest way of saying it. But I probably, in my 23 years of doing this, was probably one of the most, it was traumatizing, right? And I've seen Bali, I've seen tsunamis, I've seen the bushfires, I've done, what was the other one? I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I'm just trying to think back a story. Sometimes stories I've had to lock up only because for your own sanity or my own sanity. So the girls, one of them was Jess and another one was Emma, not my wife Emma, but another Emma, Emma that was working with us. She was really, well, both of them were sort of, if I use the word eager, it's not like, puppies waiting for a snack. It was more of like, I really want to see this, because it's probably 1 in a million chance of you getting to see this. Yeah. Again, like this. You may have other variations to it, but I don't think the condition that this lovely lady was in was anything, that you could go, oh yeah, that's all right, I can see that. So I looked at her first and I thought, oh yeah, that's pretty nasty. And I'm probably one of the first ones to say, look, I'll have a look at them, but if I don't think that it's necessary for you girls to look, then I won't, because once it's with you, you can't get rid of it. You've got to be able to lock that away somehow. But I said to the girls, do you want to? And then I started doing, I think it was the arm, part of the leg. I mean, even just the fluid around was enough to turn your stomach upside down and come out your nose. And then we went higher and higher and higher, and then they wanted to obviously see face as well. Now, anything, like I said, anything water related, so there pretty much wasn't a lot left, to be honest, of the top region. And we're talking hair and all other bits and pieces. So, but in the old days, that used to be a way that a lot of cultures would remove things from their bodies by flowing water and stream. So, what this body was doing was just natural in that environment. But once the girls had seen it, I think it was very confronting. I'll tell you that for a fact.
Very much so.
And the other side of it too is smell. Now, normally if someone is decomposing or is in a state, there's a certain smell, and I don't think us around this panel here today would be able to say, oh yeah, that's like cooking a roast, or like it's nothing like anything like that. Would you have to agree? Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely indescribable. like I
Yeah.
don't even know which words I would use.
No,
to describe
no,
this lot of
I think.
decomposition.
But so now you add that to, body fluid. You got all of that. Like, if I use the words of, no, I don't. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out how far I actually go with this because, it is pretty full on. The smell, for example, was this lovely lady. What was that? It's like,
No, it wasn't that. I was just
this lovely lady was. Oh, come on, Annie. This lovely lady was, like I said, was. Now I've got creamy throat. It was very was really not in a good stage. But she was already in 2 body bags. Now, for someone to be in 2 body bags means it's bad, right? Now, 2 body bag situation, and we're talking pretty heavy duty body bags. That go on.
just quickly, 2 body bags does not mean one part of the body in one bag and one
No,
part of the body
no,
in
no,
one bag.
no.
It's the body in one body bag and that body bag with the body in another body bag.
Yes.
So like it double bagged.
Yes. So yes, well,
That's a great explanation.
It was a visual, and now that you say it, it's like and then we put them into 3 body bags. No, so we ended up, because the smell was pretty rank. We ended up having to put her into a 3rd body bag. But what we also had to do was try to contain that smell. Now, when you get wet carpet, or someone's had wet carpet and you get that mildew, you get all and then you get some pet odor in there, and then you get I'm just trying to think of put it all together. But we had to try to contain that smell. Now, there is funeral products that you can buy, but they wouldn't have been able to help us in this situation. And for the likelihood of it happening again to be this bad, probably, I don't know. Maybe in my career I might get another one, but I don't know. I don't know what the universe will bring to us. So we had to use all sorts of everyday, run-of-the-mill sort of cleaners and chemicals to be able to contain. And I mean, probably the most natural one would be, like a vinegar, like like that smell, or what is it, baking soda and stuff like that to try to do it. So we utilize chemical, like that to try to contain that. It pretty much took me 3 to 4 days, maybe 5 days to contain it. Now that's bad. So she ended up being in her own cool room because we couldn't expose other bodies to that. And you're probably thinking, well, what's smell got to do with it? Smell travels. Oh. And, you could be out there and, you're around a fire or something else, or you're around someone else that's smoking or whatever, that you're going to get it on you. So you imagine us being there, being involved with that. Now, I'll tell you that anyone that is in the industry listening to this, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. But if you have someone that's really, really bad and you ingest that person via fumes, next time you go to the toilet or a day after, you will smell it, right? And no one, the partner's like, what do you mean? It's like that smell is purely and solely has come out of me, and you're smelling it that end rather than the others. Yeah.
I have had times where smells have gotten caught in my nose piercing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how much cleaning I do, I just have to live with it for a couple of days until it fades.
Because, Jess, you had that with the, back of the days where we had to wear the Bremba face masks. And
yes.
you went into the coroners and,
I had, so back when COVID was very prevalent, we were wearing face masks everywhere. I had gone into the coroners to do a transfer of a deceased into our care, and I had put my Bremba face mask on, which is kind of a cotton-based face mask. Anyway, once I was out of the coroners, I popped that in my pocket, as I do, or I used to wear it around my wrist just so I always had it handy. Anyway, came back to work. We did everything that we needed to do. I have stopped in at the supermarket on my way home.
Just imagine it.
When, we were still wearing face masks, and I have pulled my mask out of my pocket. I have gone to put it on my face, and I took a great big mouthful of the Coroner's, and I nearly threw up in the middle of the supermarket because it was just really unexpected. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Going back to the lady in the bathtub, that was a big eye-opener for me, because that was the first time I had seen such a degree of decomposition, and I'd certainly never seen any, water fatalities before, so that was very new to me. And Chris was in the mortuary with his full PPE on, and had said to us, you can come in and have a look. And for me,
so I made sure I had the respirator mask on, and I gave them just normal.
yeah, it was lovely.
I said, if you're coming in here, you're going to smell it like it's off.
Yeah, I put a so I was still in my I guess a ranger's uniform, and I was arranging this particular funeral.
Got lapels and all the
I've got my
not,
badges.
not the plebby outfit that we have to wear, but
So I went into the mortuary. I put on our disposable PPE. So I still have my uniform on underneath and have my heels on, and I wear glasses. Anyway, seeing her, and for me, I wanted to see her because I was arranging the funeral, and I knew the family were just so they wanted to see her. So for me, it was I needed to know that I was telling them, the absolute truth, and under no circumstances did we leave a stone unturned as such. So I have seen her, and it was ghastly. It was the worst thing I've ever seen, and it will stay with me for the rest of my life. What I saw and what I smelt, and I think it does change a little bit of chemistry within your brain about the way you see things and smell things. But after we did what we needed to do, and we had a debrief and spoke about it, we all went home for the day. And I remember traveling home in my car, and I just thought, oh my God, I can smell it on me. And then I thought, no, it can't be. Anyway, I got home, and the smell was so ingrained in my brain. I thought I just have to have a shower. So I got in the shower, and I could smell this decomp smell in my hair, on my glasses, like everything.
Oh yeah.
My clothes had to go in the wash straight away, hot wash. But my partner, it was a pretty traumatic day. So he's given me a big cuddle, and God love him, because he gave me a big cuddle and then kind of recoiled like I smelled like the worst thing in the world. But what he could smell was that decomposition smell on my glasses that I'm wearing on my face. So, and that smell was there for days. Yeah. It was there for days. Yeah. It's just awful.
So, I mean, to contain that, and then in their wisdom, the justice system at the time said, well, we now need to go and do another test. We didn't get to do this one properly in the coroner's. We now need to do this test.
So a DNA sample.
So it got to the point where, I've just spent 5 days trying to fix this, and now I've got to open and take away every single thing that I've just done. Now, these guys turned up, guy and a girl, police officer, never done one of these tests in their life. Didn't even know what they were there to do. I said, well, where are you going to take the sample from? I don't know. He was inside in the mortuary, and the young girl was outside. She was not going to go in there. And the words were, I'm not bloody going in there or something. It's like, that is your job. So it wasn't a forensics team. It was 2 detectives, probably from Narry or something, that have had to come and do what they've had to do. Now, once again, no one was going to touch anything. He quickly did what he had to do, which I don't think was right anyway. And then he just said, oh, we've done it now. he'd never seen a body of that condition before. I don't think he ever will. And these are people that aren't given, and I say that they're an emergency service, right? And they're going to see some terrible things, but they're never prepared for this. Like this was, if that's where people need to have therapy. But the therapy, especially for us, no one understands it. No one understands our trauma.
I think a lot of people, unless you've worked in this industry, their fallback is, well, why would you put yourself through it? Why would you do this job? Why would you subject yourself to things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, then we're back to the drawing board again. Like everything that I put into place, I then had to work because, we had her for quite some time. And then I had to go through that whole process again. So any of those things that we use to try to obstruct the smell, we can't never use again.
No.
Like not even in a household situation, because it automatically triggers that.
It does.
That event that we had to go through. There was no, I'm so sorry we have to do this or anything. No, it was just this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. So I don't think really that last test was going to make any difference. And the family, poor family, they had the real estate saying, oh, well, you better hurry up and, we've got to rent that place out. It's like, well, you're going to have to rip it up. And because by this stage, like we were saying, the water came out of the bath with whatever, and then it went everywhere in the house.
Through the entire
The
house.
whole house was probably an inch worth of water, maybe more in some areas, and then that rises up on everything else. So that was a pretty gory case, really, for us.
Certainly was.
And like I said, it's probably 1 in a million. It's the same up there with the shower chair man. Probably never see one like that again.
No.
So, yeah, pretty traumatic, but, yeah, it will be with us for the rest of our lives. So there you go for that. Another one that I had was it was awful in its own, because once again it was communication from certain medical professionals, I should say, against us. Now, this poor lovely person passed at home. I think, Jess, you might have even had involvement with this one. And the poor person, they had her in a heated room, and they had her for probably a couple of days at home, because all the family got to come and see her, and they're doing prayers over her, and they're doing all of this, trying to keep her nice and warm. So by the time we got her, she was not in good condition at all. We must see her again. It's like, well, probably not. Yeah. You're unlikely now to see her. Oh, but we were told by XYZ that if we did this, it was okay. It's like, well, that would be the first thing that we would totally go against, because that's not the procedure.
I think that where your mind goes, I guess, it's for people that are not in any sort of, healthcare profession. If you have been caring for someone that you love at home, your nurturing instinct is to keep them comfortable, keep them warm, keep them, you're loving them. That's what you do. But once they've passed away, that can then become such a hindrance.
Oh, yeah. 150%. You were going to say something?
I was just going to say that I think that it's very sad that they loved her and cared for her so much that they for lack of a better word, ruined their chances of being able to see her again.
Yeah. I think we ended up getting her to the viewing, but it was just skin quality was not, and that body really started to deteriorate. I mean, saying that, look, she could have been in the most perfect situation, you know, with cooling, and then the body still does the same thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, here we are saying, oh yeah, don't keep them in a warm room, but whatever you can do to stop or slow down the process of decomposition, you're going to do it. But, you know, when you've got organisations telling families to do something which is really against what they should be doing, like in the sense of, you know, you need, you know, try to keep that room nice and cool. I totally get what you mean, but, you know, just do this. Or let the funeral director explain to you what you now need to do.
Yeah.
Even if the person was on a cool pad, that was another one we had, cool pad. And it's like, you know, once again, timing.
Yeah.
Like just because they're on a nice cold cooling pad doesn't mean you can keep them for 5 days without having some form of treatment done. So it was, once again, it was pretty horrific, you know, and then it just makes, and when you got family around and you're trying to lift someone that's just got things starting to hang off, it's not the best. Definitely not the best.
I think too, the general public think, oh, I don't know. I think sometimes they don't really know what decomposition is or what happens. Decomposition normally starts from the inside out, not the outside in.
Yeah.
So people tend to not see, you know, some of the steps that happen.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I think, public view against our view is going to be totally different. But, yeah, that was, once again, a pretty horrific one. But then we've also had, and it breaks my heart, we had a little bub. Now, we're talking probably 12 months ago at a very large hospital. And it was a Sri Lankan or Indian family that had lost their, I think it was a son.
A little boy.
Yeah, a little boy. Gorgeous family. Like they could probably speak better English than me, you know. Yeah. But according to the hospital, they said that language was a barrier and they couldn't communicate with them at all. Now, this poor little bub, family were there for a couple of days. Bub was put into a what do you call those little, like a little...
a cuddle cot.
A cuddle cot, yeah.
So a cooling bassinet.
Yeah. And then they've got this little room that they place the bub in once the parents have gone for then the funeral director to come. Now, I class that room as just like a cupboard.
Oh, it's a glorified broom closet.
That's all it is. Like there's shelving everywhere, like it's just a storage facility for... you couldn't put a desk in there. No. Really, it's terrible. So these parents have gone and they said, no. They said that Bub's okay to go. Well, Bub's not in the mortuary. You can contact the ward. I don't know where the bub is. You know, and this went on for like this bub. After the family went home, was probably in that room for about 5 days.
Yeah, I think it was 7 days. 7 days all up from the time of death to when they located the baby.
Yeah, so this room that this bub was in has to have 2 staff to get into it, right? Because it's like a dual code thing or whatever, right? So no one on their shifts went through, you know, when they do their handover, not any of them that I'm aware of said, just letting you know that we have baby in here still. We're trying to get a hold of the family. They were saying they were trying to get a hold of the family, but the family was advised that Bub was already coming to us. And it's like, well, no. So we were, like, it was frustrating until we got, I don't know if it was a social worker or someone, but they said, oh, my God, you know. And we kept on saying, have you checked the room? Have you checked the room? And they were thinking of where the mother was. No. The room near to the sister's desk.
A bereavement. I think it was called a bereavement room.
Yeah. So, and they went, oh. And then they've opened up the door and here's the baby. So Jess, you went and got the little bub from this hospital,
I did.
and oh my God!
It was horrific.
And then they still didn't have paperwork ready for it.
No.
And all they could say was, "Oh, it was a language barrier. We couldn't, we didn't know what they wanted to do." It's like, well, the family have told me that someone here has told them that this bub is clear.
If it was, look, and I think everyone's going to have personal opinions, and like for me, I know even just retelling that story now makes me so angry. But the excuse of a language barrier, I mean, there are interpreters.
Yeah, yes.
There are so many different things that can be used now to break through those barriers.
Yeah.
But at what point did someone make that decision, whoever it be in the hospital, whether it be a midwife or a social worker, if you think that family hasn't understood or hasn't been able to grasp what they're saying because of a language barrier, that baby should have been taken to the mortuary. That was the safest,
100%.
safest humane place for that little baby until it was sorted out in terms of contacting the funeral director.
So this little bub being on a cooling pad, like what we've said, underneath is fine. Top was terrible.
He had decomposed.
And for Jess to go there and then, graciously grab this bub and without,
I remember the social worker was really upset. She had realised the magnitude of this issue. And she said to me, I just need to step out of the room. And I said to her, you don't leave this room until I transfer the baby into my carrier.
Yeah.
Only because, and I mean, obviously I didn't grasp I knew this was a serious situation, but it's not until you kind of think about it. But I thought, no, you're not, you need to see what's happened here. Yeah. It's such an awful situation.
And this family had religious reasons for wanting to try to get the funeral done ASAP, but because we had so many problems, no one being able to find this baby, and I thought, well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not this hospital that they're telling me. Maybe it's somewhere else. Oh, no. It was at this hospital, but we don't know where we've put the baby.
Yeah. I rang the hospital, I think it was the morning of. I was actually travelling out there because I thought, enough's enough.
We're just going.
We're going to go and we're going to find this baby. So we knew which hospital apparently this baby was at, rather than on the phone being tossed around. But I remember saying to a midwife on the ward, I am on my way. I'm going to be there in half an hour. You need to find this baby.
Yeah.
And I think it was then she realised how very serious this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, just awful.
Did the parents know that Bob was missing?
Oh, that we can't find the baby.
Yeah.
And so, no, it's in mortuary. No, not in the mortuary. And then you got to look on one side. It's like, well, we don't want to alarm them too much either, but we had to tell them because we couldn't say, oh no, we're getting onto them. It's like, no, they've lost your baby.
Yeah.
And they were going to seek some help after it. I don't know if they went and did it, but that's another situation that we had another case quite recently, similar, but not. Of it, especially with those cooling cots. And they're a great item to use for a limited time.
Yeah.
It's not a fridge where you can just, wait until the expiry date. It's like you just have to, you got to do what you got to do, for in that 24, 48 hours max.
So it wouldn't have still been cool by the time they found Bubs?
Oh yeah, so it just keeps running like it's powered.
Oh, okay. I thought it was sort of like an ice block type situation.
No. So it's a powered cot, but underneath, like half of the baby was fine, but top was not, because it's not covered. It's not. It's not part of that cooling system. So, that was pretty terrible. So I know we've shared quite a bit of information about certain things that happen, and I think a lot of public don't don't really get it or don't hear about these stories. But I think we have to be open with it.
Yeah. A lot is hidden away, and it's sometimes not our choice to do that. But yeah,
it is terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I think another podcast that we will do is if you ever do get someone that passes at home, of what's expected, what we should be doing, or what the signs. Like if you think something's different with your loved one, then this is what you should look out for. Or even if they're in hospital, that where they get that surge before they go, like everyone, it's like, he's fighting, he's up. But that yes, it could be. But on the other side, if he or she's been sick for a long period of time and maybe not responding the day before, they all of a sudden get this fight. That's their last push of life. Because then you get your hopes up.
Yeah.
And then it all happens and you go, what? Granddad, he was fine 2 days ago. He was eating his cornbread and whatever, and it's like, yeah. So that might be another episode that we can do on signs and things that you can and can't do when it happens. I think that's any education, like I've always said, any education's better than none. Be it if it helps you or not, I don't know. You might totally forget what we're talking about and go, yep. Look, I could talk a little bit more about certain things, but I think because what we've gone through has been pretty full on, I think we'll stop around there. And sorry, it was a little bit morbid. But that's what a lot of people want. They want to hear some of our stories and what's real rather than what people assume happens. Thank you to Jess and Annie for your involvement.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Annie was falling asleep in the corner. I just had to kick her. But that's all good. And yeah. Yep. That's how it is. So thank you very much, and we look forward to talking to you again. And until we chat, bye for now. Bye-bye. Bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
No, you hang up first. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. No. Hang up. Hang up now. Hello? You going to hang up? You going to hang up? Okay.